Hey everyone, this is Nitro. In this video, I wanted to give a preview of Sigma and Lambda because I'm not planning on drawing on the banner that they're released on August 8th. And thus, I felt it was better to do a video now about the two heroes so that you guys all know about them and whether you will draw for them now or in the future. So, with all that said, let's begin by talking about Sigma. And I actually feel like that Sigma is the highlight of that upcoming banner. However, the problem is, due to the way his talent works, you basically need to upgrade him to 6 stars in order for him to be truly usable. In terms of PvP, he will absolutely crush enemies who don't understand how he works. However, with that said, if you're careful and you understand how Sigma works, you can pretty much predict what Sigma can do and counter him as a result. So with all that said, let's begin talking about Sigma. Now, Sigma's factions are Protagonists, Meteor, and Yeeless Legends. In terms of classes, he can be either the infantry class or the archer class. And he's most commonly left in the archer class. Now, he has a very interesting talent where if he doesn't attack, and he ends his turn on terrain that increases defense, such as forest tiles, walls, or mountain terrain, he gets to act again. However, for his second action, he actually cannot move. The flip side to this is his range is increased by 2. And this range increase affects both his soldiers as well as his skills. So it's an incredible boost in that sense. The cooldown on this talent is the same as Shari's Wild Princess. So it starts at 4 turn cooldown when you're at 3 stars, goes down to 3 turn cooldown at 4 and 5 stars, and it becomes a mere 2 turn cooldown once Sigma is at 6 stars. And it's because of this skill that you basically have to level Sigma up to 6 stars, because you need that 2 turn cooldown. In addition to this, he also has a 1-point skill that does 2 things. First, it refreshes him as if he's going to act again for a second turn. So basically that helps reduce the cooldown on his talent, right? So in fact, if he uses that skill after his talent is put on cooldown, it reduces the cooldown down to 1 turn. So it's a great skill to always bring on Sigma. And the second effect of this skill is that it makes it as if he is on a forest tile, regardless of what terrain he is on. So, since forest tiles increase defense, it means even if he's on grassland or any other terrain, he can activate his talent. Now, even better, okay, he actually has a version of Bernhardt's stunning skill, Bernhardt's shield bash, right? But in Sigma's case, the stun effect will only kick in if he is on terrain that increases defense. So if you combo that with his 1-point skill and his talent, effectively it means he has a 3 range stun attack, which is rather crazy if you think about it. A stunner that can attack you at 3 range and have soldiers participate in the fight due to his talent, that's huge. And it can work whether you're in his melee class or in his range class. So it's a great skill. Now, in addition to this skill, he also has a second skill, which is an ultimate skill. This ultimate skill has a 4 turn cooldown, which is slightly better than the 5 turn cooldown that most skills have. But what it does is this skill, first of all, has 4 range, naturally. Okay? And the skill starts at 0.8 times damage and does an additional 15 damage for each tile the enemy is away from you. So at 4 range, what that means is you're getting 60% damage increase, meaning you do 1.4 times damage with this skill. Now, keep in mind that you're probably going to use this skill with archer soldiers. And if you combo it with his talent, right, the 2 ranged soldiers that he brings ends up having 4 range. So that means he can use this skill to do 1.4 times damage at 4 range to the enemy, and also have soldiers participate in this fight. Alternatively, he can attack at the full 6th range when comboed with his talent, and do 1.7 times damage to the enemy. Of course, when he's doing this, the soldiers won't participate. Only Sigma himself will attack. So, these two skills are comboed with his, his turn refreshing / terrain, forest terrain skill are like the bread and butter of Sigma. Sigma does also have a faction buff, but I just don't see why you would choose to have Sigma faction buff. If you're going to use him, you're going to have someone else faction buff, whether it's Matthew or Landius, just someone else will faction buff him up, or even Zerida. You're definitely not going to have him carry a faction buff. Alright, so that pretty much covers Sigma. And now, let's talk about Lambda. So Lambda is part of Protagonists and Yeles Legends. She will also join the faction that Gizaroff will faction buff, but it's just something to keep a note of. Now, in many ways, Lambda is not the highlight because she's very much almost like a generic mage. Okay, her main appeal is that she can attack reasonably well at 3 range, unlike most other mages who are generally stuck at 2 range. However, I feel like this is more just like a nice perk to have. You don't exactly need her to be your 3 range attacker, because you'll probably have Luna with Alder's Bow, for example. There's a lot of other characters who can be your 3 range attacker if you really need one. Now, her talent, the way it works is it increases her intelligence stat, and at 6 stars it increases her int by 15%. So keep in mind that this 15% int increase will not affect her soldiers, because soldiers have attack. Even magic damage soldiers, like sorceresses, have an attack value, not an int value. However, she does have a second effect, and the second effect is that when she uses a line attack skill, and keep in mind she actually has 2 of these line attack skills, these line attack skills will do 15% more damage. And their attack range is also extended by 1. So if they have like a 3 range, it becomes 4 range, and so on. So in very many, and finally, last but not least, her talent also increases her single target strike skills from 2 range to 3. So in very many ways, she's rather similar to Lana. Okay. The one exception, the one advantage she has over Lana, is that she can equip catapults. So her soldiers, or catapults, can attack at 3 range if you're using her with single target strike skills and you're turning on auto battle. Okay. Of course, keep in mind that keep in mind that catapults have a regular range attack. They're not like sorceresses that do magic damage. So it's kind of a, it's a nice to have thing where you're actually having soldiers participate in the fight. But then the flip side is these soldiers don't really get any attack boosts from her talent. And of course, the soldiers that she would be equipping, catapults, do physical damage, not magic damage. So pros and cons of that. But the big advantage is you can use her for auto battling very well. In addition to that, if you're manually controlling her, she can equip sorceresses. So she is a fairly good mage, she can equip sorceresses, she does pretty good damage, she just doesn't buff up her soldiers very well. And I guess the unique point about her in PvE is that she would be using those line attack skills as opposed to AoE blasts. Now, she does have a few AoE attacks. I think, for example, she has Tornado and another AoE attack, but neither of them have a 4 blast radius, right? So it's not as good as using, let's say, Black Hole or Earthquake that have 4 blast radiuses, or Heaven Sanction that actually has 5. So her bread and butter in PvP would be those line attack skills. And in PvE content, she has 2 single target strike skills. She gets Wind Blades to fight against flyers, and she gets Freeze Strike to counter lancers. So overall, like I said, she's quite a solid mage. I just feel that she's a bit generic in very many ways, and so she's not really a must-have. Like if you already have Lana built up, or Bozo built up, and if you have 2 other mages already, you don't really need Lambda at the end of the day. Unless you decide to either play Yeles Legends exclusively or Protagonists exclusively. And keep in mind, of course, Rachel is part of both of those factions, and she is a far better mage in my opinion. So there we go. That is Lambda as a character. Once again, as a final note, her main draw would be the fact that she can attack at 3 range and actually have soldiers participating in that 3 range attack. So there you go. Those are the 2 heroes for the next update on August 8th. Both are solid heroes. They're just not, standout, amazing, oh my god, I must get them type heroes. At least that's my opinion of them. I actually do want to level up Sigma. The unfortunate thing is, due to him requiring 6 stars, it's impossible for me to use him anytime soon. So, because I'm too focused on leveling up other characters, like bringing Zerida to 6 stars, bringing Tieris up to 6 stars, even bringing my Liana up to 6 stars for Summit Arena. So there's just too many other characters I have to grind up right now. And so it's just impossible, literally impossible for me to grind up Sigma. Nonetheless, that's everything I wanted to say in this video. I hope you found this information useful to you in basically deciding whether you want to use these heroes or not, because I know they're very, very interesting heroes, especially Sigma, but keep in mind, of course, that because they are Langrisser heroes, at the end of the day, you can wait for focus banners or even somehow just get one off banner to get them. So you don't necessarily need to pick them up right now. And that is the key point that I wanted to make. So yeah, thanks for watching everyone. I hope you found this information useful in helping you decide whether you want to draw for Sigma and Lambda right now. And on that note, Nitro out.